I think people want a cool experience with cool people. Like they're more interested in the community they get from an event, not come to see, I'm not gonna say anyone's name, but not come to see X celebrities based on a flyer. Like it's kind of people who spend a ton of money on those. Guys thinking that'll sell tickets, they're just putting themselves in a financial hole. It's good for us because we get to dig them out of it, but it's tough for them because someone told them paying $1 million for speakers for an event would sell out their event.
All right, guys, finally made it happen. Brian Rand,
Yes,
this guy
we did.
fills up arenas.
Yes,
Thanks for
I
coming
do.
on, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for the invite. It's only my second podcast ever. So.
Crazy. And for what you
Appreciate
do,
that.
we were talking about how like behind the scenes you are for what you do. It's pretty impressive.
The guy behind the guys.
Yeah. Was that like a cognizant thing where you wanted to be more behind the scenes?
No, actually, I want to do more of getting in the front. I mean, I think I've done that, and I think we've helped a lot of people that you and I both know, build their brand, build their audience, and so it's time to start doing that for ourselves, which is why I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
And what I find so interesting with you is you do something that I've never met someone else do, honestly.
Yeah, and that's, I didn't start that on purpose. It just kind of was a skill set that I love. Like events have changed my life, and so I've made it my life's purpose basically to help other people have that same experience. And, I've found that's what gets me electric, right? Like there's something when I walk into a room of 5,000 people and it's my job to find people that are going to sign up for my client's coaching offer. I go into this weird dimension. It's like a fourth dimension. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and when I found that, I was like, okay, this is my thing. And the fact that I get paid to do my thing, that takes me to a different level of dimension. That's a gift that I'm very grateful for. And because of that, like we've found a niche and an opportunity that, we're at the top of, and it's not because I didn't set out to be that. I just set out to do what I love and get paid for it, like people say. And that actually came true for me. And, we're being rewarded for that.
Yeah. When I see you backstage, you were a different person. You were just so locked in.
Yeah. And I get so locked in on that day. Right. And so part of the thing is I started by doing the high ticket sales at events only, like just doing the high ticket sales. And then I saw there was an opportunity where, yes, I could just go to events and just help my clients do the high ticket sales back the room. But then I saw like, okay, the bigger pain point was actually having people in the room, right? And not just butts in seats, but buyers in seats. And so we really focus and emphasize on like, let's get more buyers in the room, sell more tickets. So if we have more people in the room, we can do that. So then when event day comes, like I'm locked in, we got a target. I mean, minimum, I'm trying to do $1 million weekend.
Wow.
At a minimum for my clients. And so it takes a lot of handshakes, a lot of hugs, a lot of high fives, and a lot of contracts to make that happen.
Damn.
So that's our focus. And so event day comes, that's my Super Bowl, right? And I just want as many events as I can because I love it.
How many closes does it take on average to reach $1 million?
Well, the average coaching, it used to be a little higher, right? It used to be like 40K was kind of this coaching, but I'd say like the saturation, the economy, these things, it's getting closer to 20,000 probably. It would be a healthy way of like the coaching offers being sold at the big events. So that would take 50 contracts at a deal. So our biggest one we did 4 million in a live event. We've done 9 million on a virtual event. We've done 4 million in a live event. And then our average is roughly about like 750,000.
Holy crap. That's
trying to
so
get
impressive.
to that $1 million average.
That's so impressive. And that's basically running a good sales team too.
Running a good sales team, having a good offer, making the event based around the offer, right? And then also having an active finance option as well. So like good money available to people. So it's not a stretch. So like there's strategy to all four of those, but if you can work all four together, you can definitely have $1 million event.
Now, a lot of people struggle to even fill events.
Correct.
So you'll only take on a client if how many people show up on average?
So there's two things now. We actually used to only take clients that are 1,000 or more people, which is the only time that I'll allow like my call center to be involved is 1,000 or more people. It's the only time it makes sense for us because there's enough events right now for us to do that. However, I've now started an event mastermind where we're bringing events together. It's $15,000 for 6 months. And basically we bring together event planners. We bring their ads teams, their
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/DSH and get on your way becoming your best self. My fiance Ariel plays a big role in my mental health, helping me realize my true potential. Everyone's trying their best around you, so take time to appreciate someone close to you. I've tried therapy in the past, and it helped me go through some tough times when I was in college dealing with mental health. I was on prescription medication. I actually had agoraphobia when I was in college, and therapy helped me figure out some answers to how to fix that problem. For 2 months, I couldn't even leave my house, or I would have a full-on panic attack. So I love companies like BetterHelp that can get therapy in front of the masses. But therapy definitely helped me get better, and I definitely appreciate companies like BetterHelp because it's completely online and it's conveniently suited to fit your schedule and accommodate life surprises. Fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a licensed therapist today with the freedom to switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Visit betterhelp.com/DSH to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DSH. Check them out now.
sales teams all together. We meet 4 times a week, so we do 4 calls a week. And through that process, we're leveraging each other's lists, we're doing arbitrage together, and we're teaching and learning together as a community on how to fill their events. So some of the smaller events that might be 100, 200, 500 people, instead of us doing the calls for them, they don't have a lead abundance problem. They've got a brand awareness problem, right? So like, we solve the lead abundance problem. We help them get a ton of leads and sell out 2,000 seats for the arena. Smaller events, we're helping them work more on their brand awareness and their ability to get people to want to come to their event. And we're doing that as a collaborative community.
One of the best events I've been to is Aspire Tour.
Yeah.
I mean, they fill up in any city.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. They got a great process. We've been a part of them. You know, we've helped them with a couple of the cities, and specifically Atlanta. You know, we had our entire team involved in them. And so, yeah, they've got a tremendous brand. They bring big names, and they spend a lot of money on ads. You know, so like those 3 things together help a lot.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't think that a name sells tickets right now. Like just putting some people think I'll just put a flyer up with X celebrity's name on it, and then all of a sudden I'll get flyers. That's usually when I get a call. Like, they've spent like $1 million on speakers. They've spent $1 million on venue. They put up a flyer. They sell 10 tickets, and then they're like, what do we do now? They call Dan Fleischman. They're like, Dan, I don't know what to do. Dan says, call Brian. They call me, and then 3 months later, they have a full event.
Yeah. So what's the selling point then if it's not the speakers, you think?
I think it's the community of people they can meet. I think it's access to capital by putting people together, right? And that comes from the network they can have. And then I think it's the experience to get out and be around humans, right? I think like post-COVID, we had a tremendous rush to events because I think COVID taught people that being alone sucks, right? That just amplified the human condition that, loneliness is a real thing and like human engagement is a beautiful thing. And so I think one of the reasons events are so successful is because you're in an environment that we're meant to be in community. We're meant to be experiencing life together. And the more that we have technology and social and all this like siloed lifestyle that we live in, like you bring people together and you see that. Like for example, there's a new event in Miami called Coffee and Chill, right? Or I think it's Chill and Coffee, whatever it is. And they are selling out immediately by texting, and it's super cool. It's just like they have a bunch of ice baths, and they have people drinking coffee in the mornings. And they text out to people. They say, hey, at 10 a.m. tickets go live, and literally in 5 minutes they'll sell like 300 tickets. But they're going after a target audience, which is the same target audience our events want, which is millennials with money that are upcoming entrepreneurs in Miami. And they've created such a cool thing, and they literally sell out in like 5 minutes. I missed my ticket the other day because the website shut down with so many people.
Crap.
But they're doing it every other weekend in Miami, and then they get this, you've got the people out in their shorts and the girls in bathing suits, and they're getting in ice baths, and they're drinking coffee, they're dancing to house music, and it's a vibe. And like, I think people want a cool experience with cool people, and it's getting harder and harder to showcase. Like, they're more interested in the community they get from an event, not coming to see, I'm not going to say anyone's name, but not coming to see X celebrity's face on a flyer. Like, it's kind of past that point, and I think people who spend a ton of money on those guys thinking that'll sell tickets. They're just putting themselves in a financial hole. It's good for us because we get to dig them out of it, but it's tough for them because someone told them paying $1 million for speakers for an event would sell out their event.
No, I 100% agree because there's some conferences where it's just speakers all day, which is cool, but some people don't learn that way.
Yeah, they don't learn that way, and they want to engage with each other. If I'm paying $5,000 for a VIP ticket, I want to meet some people, and I'm probably not going to do business with Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone, right? Like I'm not going to, even if I get to meet them, I'm going to get a photo. But if I get to meet another guy who's owns a company in Denver and he paid $5,000 and I paid $5,000 and our intention was to come to each other and we sit next to each other and we have lunch and dinner together, there's a better chance I'm going to do business with that guy. So when we're on the phone selling, that's what we're selling. We're selling the opportunity to meet people like you. And the higher you pay for a ticket, the higher level people you're going to meet. But it's not about getting to meet the speakers. It's about getting to meet the people that are also willing to pay $5,000 for a ticket and do business with those guys.
Absolutely. You mentioned Grant Cardone earlier, and you worked for him for years, right?
I did, yeah.
What were the biggest takeaways you had from that experience?
I think the biggest takeaway I learned from Grant was just massive action, right? It would be massive action, which is just take 10x the action that you thought would be one. The second thing would be that, he said his biggest regret in life is not setting his goals and targets bigger. And you look at a guy as successful as him and you're like, how does that guy think that way? And I think most of us aren't as successful as we want to be because our targets and our goals are way too small. Yeah. And so if you don't have a massive target that challenges the way you think and approach life to go after, you're never going to live a life that you're going to be satisfied by because you're going to keep playing in the average. You might go like this, but if you set a goal, and to give you an example, I was 34 when I went to work there. I had never made more than $100,000, and I told him that my goal was to make $100,000. And he said, "What if?" He said, "The reason you've never hit it is because your goal's too small. What if you aimed for $1 million and your target was to make $1 million, right? And if it's the 10x brand, but it was real. So every day I wrote down, I make $1 million. I make $1 million. He said, if you aim for $1 million, it'll change the books you read, the places you go, the people you talk to, and the conversations you have. So I aimed every day, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. My first year there, I made $175K. Second year there, I made $350K. And then my last year, I was on pace for $700,000.
Wow.
When I left. And then I left. And then a year later, I made my first $1 million with my company.
Amazing.
So like 34 years, I couldn't get past 100K. Someone challenges me to aim for $1 million, changes the way I think, changes the books I read, the conversations I have. 4 years later, I hit that $1 million goal.
Incredible. And that's important because you grew up in a town of 700 people. So
Yeah,
you didn't have a good mindset.
I grew up with nothing. I mean, my mom had me, she was living in a trailer,
Damn.
So we grew up with nothing. I'm the oldest of 7, just come from a very, not quite poverty, but like, it's just, we didn't have a lot. Like I shopped at Goodwill and, I wore Shaq shoes from Walmart.
Those were like $5, right?
Yeah. I wore Shaq shoes from Walmart. Like that was my lifestyle. And so like, it's really beautiful to have the things we have now, but I want to make sure that everyone in my family, all 7 siblings, my parents, all my nieces and nephews, hopefully my grandkids someday.
Yeah.
I want them to all get a chance to live a lifestyle where you don't have to think about money. And so now that I've been able to get some success for myself, the shift, I just turned 40. So the shift has really been like, how do I get it so every person that's in my lineage gets to experience that same freedom of, they can go, we were just talking about ZZ's, right? $500 dinner, that's okay. It's fun. I'm with my friends, not a big deal. I want everyone in my life to be able to experience what that feels like.
I love it. Wow, 7 siblings in a trailer park.
Well, we got out of the trailer park.
Oh, you got out? Okay.
Yeah, but we lived in a town of 700 in a very modest house. But
so you were 1% of the town, your family. That's crazy.
I've never thought about it that way.
Dude.
Cool story too is like, after that's hilarious. We're the 1%, literally 1% of the population. That town we grew up, we were one of the lower end families in town. That town gets made fun of a lot, just the where it is, what it is about, whatever. I'm not going to talk about that here. But what is cool is my mom and I later, we've had some success working with Grant, told me about multifamily real estate. Opportunity came up and we've now bought 4 acres and we own the largest apartment complex in that town.
Wow.
So we went from like the the bottom to the top, and now we own the biggest piece of real estate in the town.
Started
And
from the
so
bottom, now we here.
that's it. Love
love
you,
it.
Mom.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. So we're super proud of that. We're actually about to build another 8-plex on that. We have 4 acres now in town.
Nice.
We have some multifamily, some single family, and we're building a nice little portfolio together.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you learned the real estate stuff from Grant too then?
Yeah, that's another thing that I learned from him was like invest in that passive income. And that's done more. I mean, I've tried crypto. I've been in your groups. I've done these things. I lost my ass on everything. That multifamily real estate has doubled. I mean, we paid $500K for it. It's worth $1 million. Like, it's not massive, but like it was enough for me to see that, okay, if you just put money away and leave it, like even just Ethereum, right? After I lost all my money in crypto, put money in Ethereum, I've just let it sit. Now I've almost gotten back all those losses I had from playing all those other coins. Didn't know what I was doing. So I think I've just realized for investing, like my brother just had me put away 6 figures into the stock market, into S&P, like, because he's built wealth on it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So now I have stocks, I have crypto, and I have real estate, and I've just forgot that I even have that money. I'm just going to let it grow and continue to scale my company, which is where I get the best return.
Right.
But by having those 3 things, teaching my brain, I didn't come from someone who taught me money, right? Mm-hmm. So I've had to learn it. And so I'm really trying to teach myself the power of investing and putting away money and just forgetting about it.
Yeah.
And then coming back and saying, holy like in 4 years, my real estate doubled and I've paid off the mortgage. So my net worth is, almost doubled on that stuff, like as far as my investments.
Absolutely. So. And you're also 40 now, so you don't need to be making crazy risky investments.
Exactly. Which sounds so old, but it's true.
In our space, it kind of is like
it is
upper
old.
end.
It's weird because I remember I felt like when I first started my first business, like I was like 20, So I feel like it's crazy to think I've been trying this for 20 years and I've worked so hard, and to finally have built a company that's being rewarded for that 20 years of work. And I can look back at everything I've done so far and see how it articulates into doing what we do really well, is a really beautiful thing, And so I feel like I'm way behind the 8 ball. I meet 20-year-olds making way more than I am in Miami. And
like, crypto nerds out here.
I know. I'm like, I got so much to go, but there's also a place to find gratitude in the life I have. And, now I'm focused on my health and I want to live forever. And I've got a taste of what success feels like, and now I want to be able to experience that for a long time.
I love that. You have a midlife crisis yet?
I think I'm in the midst of trying to figure out if I'm in it or not.
Right now?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, like I want a wife and kids. I want those things, and I think that's what if let's say I build a massive empire and have all this money and then I just have it for myself, like what was the purpose of that, And so I think that part is really shifting in my brain of I don't want to get to the point where I'm 50, have $100 million business and nobody to share it with.
Be lonely, yeah. Were you thinking about that recently or in your 20s, 30s?
No, I think I just recently. I've been 40 for 2 months. I think it's just been like, I think something happened to me at 40 that has been kind of clicking something that's like, all right, it's time to think about this, and who are you going to share this with?
I feel that, yeah. I've been thinking about it, dude. I'm 27.
Okay.
About kids already, for sure.
Yeah, and you're married, right?
About to be, yeah.
About to be married.
Next
Congratulations,
year, yeah. That's a big move.
Yeah, that is. It is, and I think that, I spend time with my nieces and my nephews. I just spent 2 weeks back home with my family, and that was a really big deal because I love my family, and like being in Miami now for 7 years, it's almost a quarter of my life. Like,
wow.
I haven't even thought, like this December it'll be 8 years since I moved down here to work for Grant. And so when I look at it that way, it's, that's a long time, that's a long time. And that's a quarter of my life in the city I love. I want to be in Miami forever, but Miami has a very youthful spirit to it that makes you feel like you're 25 forever, So
especially if you're going out here.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be careful not to get so wrapped up in that you say 25 forever, and you start realizing there's a process to this thing we call life, that we have fun, we build a business, we build a family to then hand the business over to, and grow our kids. I'd love to hand my company to my son someday.
Nice.
So.
I love that. Speaking of your health kick you mentioned earlier, did you just bike 450 miles?
We did. My
That is
mother and I.
nuts.
Yeah, it's something we do. It's our annual tradition with my mom. We did 450 miles across Iowa. It's an event called Ragbri. We do it every year. It's 20,000 people. It's my highlight of my year and my favorite week. Like nothing tops my excitement to ride my bike across Iowa with my mom and 20,000 crazy people. It's really like, it's not like a race. It's not like Tour de France, right? Like we're not out there racing.
Mm-hmm.
We're out there going at a pretty steady pace, like 15 miles an hour. But like every 10 miles, we'll stop at like a farm town. And you have these towns. And I think one of the reasons I love it so much, 'cause I grew up in such a small town in the Midwest, that you come into these towns, like one town had a population 60.
Damn.
Right? Yeah, like 60. And so you show up and you have 5,000 people in this town, and it's like their entire year of revenue is made in a 5-hour period of these bikers coming through. And
Wow.
yeah, so they have like food trucks set up. You get the local food. We went through a lot of like, places. I'm trying to think of the name, like Hutterite colonies. I don't know if you know what Hutterite colonies are. That's like Amish people. So they, we come through and you've got a bunch of crazy people on bikes, and like we buy their pies, we buy their bread, we buy their food. Like you just get all this food from farmers, and you get all this, like just buying bottles of water for these guys. Like it's a huge economic engine for them. It's a fun experience for us. And like, it gives me a week to spend that time in small town America that I grew up in to like appreciate. Then I come back to my condo in Miami, and it's like, wow, there's a world of difference, but it brings me back. It like constantly brings me back to where I come from, and I get a week with my mom. So, and we're active. So there's a lot of wins to it, but, yeah, it's definitely my highlight for sure.
That sounds fun, dude.
It's super
I'm gonna
fun.
look into that.
And there's like a traveling band that comes with. So like you basically, what we do is we start in one town, right? And then we stay in an RV. Some people stay in tents. In the morning, before we get on our bike, my uncle will drive the RV 75 miles to the next town. And then we ride our bikes all day. By the time we get there, the RV's set up, you shower, you eat, you go down to the town center, and then they've got a band set up. And I mean, it's literally 20,000 people. And so we just started traveling 20,000 people across the state in a new town. We go to 5 new towns a day, and then you end in the end town where they have a big band set up.
Wow.
Like Leonard Skinner will play. Like they get big bands, come and party every night, and then you wake up in the morning and get on your bike and keep going.
That's legit. You've been doing this for how long?
It's our 3rd year doing it.
Okay.
So,
but you've been biking for a while, right?
Yeah, I started cycling during COVID. So because of my mom.
What do you mean?
She was just like, hey, why don't you get a bike? I would like look out and see, I'm here in Miami. I could see from my condo people working on Venetian, and I had asthma. And so they made it seem like if you go outside with asthma, you're dead, you just fall over dead in the street. But I just got to a point I was tired of being stuck in my condo. And so I went to the bike store, bought a bike, and started cycling, and I've just kind of never stopped. It's become one of my passions and hobbies. And so, yeah, I'll do like a 100-mile bike ride.
Jesus. Dude, it's hot here.
I know. We'll go from Brickell to Boca and back. It's 100 miles.
Holy crap. It's probably beautiful, though.
Super beautiful. And like I feel so empowered when I'm done. And it's a great exercise. It gives me a lot of time to think about the things we're talking about how I can build my business, build new systems, run new plays.
Yeah, that's important because sometimes we get so like wrapped up in work, we never give ourselves time to think or reflect. Yeah,
a lot of people like meditate and all this stuff. I get on my bike because that's my alone time.
That's a form of meditation, actually.
For sure.
Your recent video about selfie videos. So basically, you just went to a cool event a couple days ago.
Yep.
And you sent everyone a selfie video from the event?
So one thing I do when I go to an event, right? I literally pull out my phone and I make a list on Notes. So I make a list of everybody from the event, right?
Wow.
So then when I meet, as soon as I meet, if I met you, I'd be like, awesome, Sean Kelly wants me on a podcast. Like your name, what we talked about, name what we talked about, just in Notes. Then in the morning, I go on a morning walk every morning around by the ocean. So I literally just go out there and I just say, hey, Sean, great talking to you last night, man. I really look forward to getting on that podcast. Again, you're amazing. Have a wonderful day. Boom. Send those out. And like the amount of feedback I get from that, and I do that at every event I go to. Wow. So it's just a little event hack. But I mean, I've made millions of dollars off selfie videos, and I just think that it's a tool that more people could be using to leverage and scale their business. I mean, if every time you booked a podcast, you just said, hey, dude, can't wait to have you on the podcast in Miami. It's going to be awesome. Have a wonderful day. Just sent that out. It takes you 2 seconds, but
That would make people's day.
It makes people, and who else does that? When's the last time someone sent you a selfie video just telling you they appreciate you?
Not for a podcast. I've never
Exactly.
heard of that.
And you're talking to some of the most powerful people, right? And like, it's a good way. There was a guy who used to call me, and there's something I do called 90 by 90. So I look at the 90 most influential people in the space, and every 90 days I try to at least engage with them in person, talk to them on the phone, send them a message, or leave them a voicemail. And I track that. I keep it in a CRM and I track that. And this guy, and what started that for me, it was just something I started, but started that for me was a guy who used to call me and he used to call me like, it was literally on like every 45 days. He just said, "Hey, Brian, just thinking about you. No need to call me back. Just want you to know you're awesome and I'm thinking about you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know how I can help you out." That was it. But I remember, I've met hundreds of thousands of people through my event business. And I remember that one guy who used to call me and just tell me he was thinking about me.
Wow.
They had zero intention, didn't ask for anything, wasn't asked for money, just wanted me to know he cared about me, was thinking about me. And I think it's a really small thing to do that can go a long ways in a world where everyone's trying to ask for something, to be the guy not asking and just saying, "I just want you to know I care for you. And if there's anything you need, let me know."
Those are such good hacks because people will meet like 50 people at an event and not remember who they are like 2 days later.
100%. Or like you go through your Instagram account, but you get so lost in the likes and the comments and the everything. Like you might go add a bunch of people to connect, or you add them in your phone, and then what? Like you've got 10,000 contacts in your phone. Like, yeah, you got their number, but how do you actually follow up?
Right.
And also a cool thing too is if anyone ever reaches back out to me, or those people who say, "Hey, I want to do business." Cool. I go up to, "Oh, how do we meet?" "Oh, cool. We met at this event." I sent him a selfie video. I remember it takes me back to that point.
Smart.
Instead of, who's this random person texting me?
Yeah, because they'll text their name and then a month later you're like, "Who's this?"
Exactly. And they all met somebody that night. They all met the same 50 people I did, but only one person sent them a selfie video.
I'm going to start doing that, man. For
Do
real.
it. Well, you do your social hour,
Yeah.
It'd be a good thing.
Even at my events, which you've been to, and I want to actually get your help with that because I haven't monetized those at all.
No, and they're awesome. Like I look forward. You have people literally travel across the country.
Yeah,
To go
no,
because,
at least half the people fly into those.
yeah, because they know they're going to connect with them. I know you did an awesome one in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
You had some guys that were mega wealthy at yours there.
Yeah, it's high level people. I just got to figure out a way to monetize. So here's my thing. I've never been into pitching, but maybe you could change my opinion on that.
I think if you change the perspective on it, that if you believe that your product, imagine you had and 10 cancer patients showed up and it was your job to convince them to do your thing, but you knew that your solution was going to change their life. Like, I believe it's your ethical duty to convince them to do it, right? But it has to be done in an ethical way. Now, if they show up with cancer and you've got a placebo effect that may or may not work, if you can change their mind, then now you're a scammer, right?
Right.
I think that there's got to be, to me, I don't think it's so much about pitching. And I'm very careful about who we associate with in that sense. Like, if there's any bit of like sketchiness or there's been issues with people thinking, "Oh, I don't know about this guy," like we probably won't take the deal.
Well,
Because I don't want to be associated with someone who's not going to help people do what needs to get done to change their life, right? But most of the people that we vet, like I want to make sure, A, has your offer actually helped people? B, let me meet those people or see that impact. And C, like, do I get the vibe from you that you're about helping people, right? Like, if you're about helping people, I'm going to go all in on you. If I feel like it's just about the money, then I'm probably going to pass on the opportunity because I don't want to be associated with that. And like, we have a standard in our company that says just because I can take the credit card doesn't mean I should. Right? Because once you're skilled at taking credit cards, you can take credit cards and get wires for anything. Getting a wire doesn't impress me. Like, someone actually fulfilling when they take 20K and someone then makes 100K.
yeah.
That's what impresses me. And I don't want to just go take a bunch of 20K wires or 10K credit card transactions
Right.
to get a big number and then have a pathway of people behind us that got screwed over by somebody. And, that happens in our space a lot. And
All the time.
sometimes, yeah. And not to say it hasn't even happened with people we've worked with, where we sold a bunch of stuff, it didn't get fulfilled, and that doesn't feel good either. So it makes me more skeptical and makes me more investigative as we enter into a partnership to say, okay, I know I can convert that room into $1 million, but I'm only going to do it if I know this person's going to actually fulfill on what they're promising those people. So long answer to your short question of being convinced is like, the question is, do you actually believe whatever that offer is going to impact and change their life? Like,
Right.
you could sell a course right now teaching someone how to build a podcast. Why? Because like you've done it. Right. And I think as long as people are talking about not giving advice out of something they read, but giving advice from something they've experienced.
Right.
That's why when you see like a 20-year-old life coach, it's like,
The coach of the coach.
yeah, the coach of the coach. You're like, dude, come on. And I've hesitated to start my program. My program is a mastermind, but literally all I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, this is what's worked for us.
Yeah.
We're 70 events in, 50 million in revenue, over 30,000 tickets sold. I'm just saying this is what we've done that works. You know, I'm not trying to make up new ideas. I don't know if they work. I'm just saying this is the blueprint I know works. When you pay me, I'll implement it for you, and we'll see what we can do together to get the results that I know come from it.
I love it. Yeah. When
But
you
I'm
frame
not
it that
gonna.
way.
I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna say, hey, here's something we've never done, but this is what you paid me for. I read on Reddit that this works, so you should go try it.
Yeah. Who do you think's executed the coaching mentorship offer the best? For me, it's Pace Morby. He's
Pace does
crushed it.
phenomenal. Pace does something no one else does that I've actually implemented. Pace told me one time, he's like, dude, I go all in on community. Like he does like 5 or 6 Zooms a week.
Damn.
Right? Like some people, every single day he does Zooms with his community.
Wow.
We do 4 a week, and mine's $15K for 6 months. And I also hop on the phone and close tickets for people. Like one difference between our coaching offer, or not, I don't even like the word coaching offer. One difference between our mastermind and anyone else's is that people show up on Tuesday and Thursday, they bring leads to the call, and then I'll literally pick up the phone and call, hey, this is Brian with Digital Social Hour. How you doing? Right? I'll literally get on the call and close their leads for them, and I
Wow.
don't take any commission.
No way.
And I'm doing it in front of like 50 people that are all there. So they just put their leads. All I need is a name, a number, and an idea of the event, and I can sell the ticket. Because to me, the tickets process is the same regardless. Like I have the same mentality that any event is going to be beneficial. Why? Because I'm selling the community of an event, not necessarily the name on the stage.
That's impressive.
But Pace is tremendous. One of his secrets is that he's just so engaged with his community.
I've noticed that people even have sub 2 in their IG bios. Like I see it all the time.
And like people will, a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going to sell a 40K offer and I'm going to do 2 Zooms a month. It's like, bro, why would anybody pay that? It doesn't make sense. But if you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to do 40K, but you're going to get 5 Zooms a week, and you're going to have access to me, and I'm going to be involved in your deals, and I'm going to help you build your business. Like an hour a day isn't really that much. No one's too busy for an hour a day to bless their community. I love it. It's my favorite time. I love seeing my community win. And that was something Pace taught me for sure.
Yeah. And he's doing it at such a scale that it's so impressive. Like I've never seen one customer of his talk negatively.
Yeah, he's done really well at it.
It's super
Another guy that does really well, his name's Bill Hauser. Most people don't know
I haven't
him.
heard of him.
He's specifically focused in the attorney space, but he was a client of mine at Cardone's. I've gotten to know him really well. We eventually got a chance to help him with some of his processes, but he's phenomenal. I think Myron Golden is another one
That's
that
a good one,
people
yeah.
love, I haven't really heard anyone say anything bad about Myron because he's so good at implementing his system, and he's so good at saying, so probably my favorite coach right now would be Justin Saunders. He runs something called AIA. I don't even know what it stands for, but it teaches people how to run ads. Because I was paying ad companies, and I was like, I need to figure out how to run ads. Found his content. He showed it to me, and I came in his program. And the thing I love about it the most is like his whole thing is DM ads.
Yeah.
And right now we're getting $4 DM ads. It's working really well for us, and we're making great money on it. But like when I tried to talk to his team about traditional ads or whatever else, he said, that's not our system. That's not our system. That's not our system. That's what they kept saying to me. And I was getting annoyed because I wanted to know everything about all ads. And they're like, you paid us for one thing and one thing only, and that's to follow this system. So if you follow our system, it'll work. If you try and go off because you think you're better than us, when we have proof that you're not going to get the results. And the interesting thing about it for me that I've realized and I've implemented myself is that if I try to like manipulate my system to make someone happy, or they're going to do their thing, so I'm going to try it over here, it's never going to work, right? So like sell the system, implement the system, follow the system. If someone's not willing to do the system, don't sell them your product because they're not going to get the results. And if they come to you and they're like, hey, it's not working, say, cool, show me in the system where you are.
Yeah.
And he's probably done that better than anybody I've seen. And, you know, I invested in the program and it's working really well.
Yeah, DM ads are hot right now, I think, because people want that personal communication, right?
Yeah, so it's the DM ad to a setter, and then a setter having that communication, setting up a call, and then setting up a call. And, you know, for our event community, that's done really well for us.
Yeah, because the old days of just sending them to a landing page to sell a $5,000 course doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, I know people paying $500 to $1,000. It's not what we pay, but I know people paying that. And I mean, dude, if you're paying $1,000 for a booked appointment, that's a lot of money.
A lot.
There's a lot better ways right now that can do that, and a brand online can help with that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of my deals come from DMs, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this. You've talked to people that have come on the show, and it's all from DMs.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are great at it. And but you put the time and energy into it, right? Like you figured that out. And so, yeah, running ads I think it's a beast. And especially when you come back to ticket sales too. Like ticket sales requires ad spend, it requires leads. Like even it doesn't matter how good your sales reps are if they don't have anyone to talk to, like you can't fill up an event. But
absolutely. We'll end off with a fun question. Who was the GOAT of selling from stage? You're gonna piss off your friends here.
Who is the GOAT from selling from stage? Gosh, man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say I think that Russell Brunson is still one of the best.
Wow.
Because I saw him do what he did at GrowthCon. And I think that when we say go, I think I just go back to who was one of the best at the beginning. I think that everybody has a chance to be awesome now.
Yeah.
But I still think Russell Brunson crushed it. When I was there, when he did like $3.5 million in his first set at GrowthCon. And that's still what people talk about. They still reference back to that.
And that was years ago.
7 years later, they're still talking about that 40-minute talk he gave. And then he put that into .com secrets, and he put that into his different websites of what he did, on how he did it. And now people have built their scale off of that. But I think Russell Brunson understanding the audience, knowing how to do that, getting to see that in real time was probably one of the coolest things I've seen. And I think even Myron and a lot of these guys who have come after have all built their frameworks around what Russell did. So that's what I would say.
I love it. Brian, where can people find you, man?
Find me on Instagram at Brian Rand on Instagram, or at Event Sales Agency. And we're always looking for more events that want to fill up and have more people to impact with their offer. And so, you know, if that's you, DM me today and we'll get you started right away.
Perfect. We'll link his stuff below. DM him, guys. See you next time.
Appreciate you guys.